Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Before there was cops, there was Night Watch. Reporter Donn Reed going on the mean streets of Culver City, California, and recording using new, innovative, portable tape recorder technology to bring you what really happened behind the scenes in the police departments. Night Watch. And we'll be hearing an episode today from 68 years ago, July 31st, 1954, A Forgotten Child. And we thank you for joining us on this Sunday, the last day of July, 212th day of the year, 153 days remaining. This is the birthday of a man whose work you have no doubt seen. His name is Fred Quimby. If you don't know who he is, I'll tell you shortly. On this date in 1498, Columbus arrived at the island of Trinidad. In 1790, the first patent issued to Samuel Hopkins of Vermont for a process of making fertilizer. On this date in 1930, the radio mystery program The Shadow aired for the first time.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Now, the Shadow program that aired beginning on this date in 1930 was just a narrator of crime stories, probably very similar to what The Whistler would be. But in 1937, the star of the Shadow magazine became known as Lamont Cranston with that distinctive opening you just heard, voiced by Frank Reddick Jr. At Idlewild Field in New York City on this date in 1948, New York International Airport, later renamed John F. Kennedy International Airport, was dedicated. On this date in 1964, the U.S. space probe Ranger 7 transmitted pictures of the moon's surface.
On July 31, 1964, 1,120 kilometers, NASA's Ranger 7 spacecraft, 576 kilometers, impacted the moon in a pre-selected target area. Camera B provided valuable oblique views. During the last 17 minutes of flight, the spacecraft transmitted back to Earth more than 4,000 pictures of the lunar surface.
Audio from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Ranger 7, impacting the moon 5 years before man would set foot on the moon and return home. In 1971, in fact, on that same date, Apollo 15 astronauts became the first to ride in a lunar rover.
And the camera's running, Joe.
Okay, and standing by for a mark when you roll.
We're rolling.
Roger.
Hey, your camera. Camera's loose on a swivel, Jim. No, I'm getting a pan here. Oh, really? Oh, it's an awful fast pan. I just wanted to make sure it was running.
Dave, you'll want to trend course 346, and it's about 1.7 clicks to station.
Okay.
Now, the rover would be used in the next two moon missions. In Detroit on this date, 1975, Teamsters Union President Jimmy Hoffa officially reported missing. In 1999, NASA intentionally crashed the spacecraft to discover program Lunar Prospector into the moon, ending its mission to detect frozen water on the moon's surface in 1999. And in 2006, Fidel Castro handed over power temporarily to brother Raul Castro. It led to a celebration in Little Havana in Miami, where many Cuban Americans participated. Passing away on this date in history, President Andrew Johnson, singer-songwriter Jim Reeves, wonderful music. great voice. The man behind The Lives of Harry Lime and the Black Museum, Harry Allen Towers, radio producer, syndicator. Also American novelist, screenwriter, critic Gore Vidal, Syrian-American actor Michael Ansara, and the rowdy one, Rowdy Roddy Piper. This is the birthday of the man who was behind SS Kresge's. The Kresge's 5 and dime stores begat Kmart, Sebastian S. Kresge, born on this date. And we mentioned Fred Quimby. If you've ever seen Tom and Jerry, he's the man behind them. He received Academy Awards for his production of those popular Tom and Jerry animated shorts. He was born on this date, passed back in 1965 at the age of 79. Liberace's brother, George Liberace. You'd hear him refer to my brother George. George Liberace, born on this date. Nobel Prize laureate economist Milton Friedman. Mark Goodson's partner in the early days of game shows on television and even on radio. Bill Todman, born on this date. Kurt Gowdy, The Agony of Defeat. And musician Bob Welch, Sentimental Lady. Yes, all born on this date in history. Number 90. Have you ever seen Marilyn Monroe in Bus Stop? One of her co-stars was Don Murray, and he turns 93 years old today. Me and You and a Dog Named Boo. Roland Kent Lavoie, better known as Lobo, 79 today. Lots of actors' kids having birthdays today. Charlie Chaplin's fourth child, Geraldine Chaplin, an actress, 78 today. Jerry Lewis's boy, Gary Lewis, of Gary Lewis and the Playboys, 77. Dick Van Dyke's son, actor Barry Van Dyke, is 71. Dan Blocker's son, you remember Haas from the Bonanza TV show, Dan Blocker? His son, Dirk Blocker, who looks just like his dad, 65 years old. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, he's somebody's son, but nobody famous. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, 64. Actor Wesley Snipes, 60 years old today. J.K. Rowling, 57. From Lois and Clark, Dean Cain, 56. Country singer Zac Brown of the Zac Brown Band, 44. From The Office, B.J. Novak, 43. From Desperate Housewives, Charlie Carver, 34. Robin Williams' daughter Zelda turns 33 today. She also is an actress. From Modern Family, Rico Rodriguez is 24. And a delightful Filipino-American singer, Angelica Hale from America's Got Talent, 15 years old today, having survived in her youth kidney failure, scarred lungs, and yet, boy, can she sing. Angelica Hale, 15. Those some of the people celebrating the 31st day of July as their birthday. And if this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we will go to the mean streets of Culver City, California from 68 years ago, July 31st, 1954, Night Watch. But first, these important messages on this Sunday on your favorite radio station. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, it preceded cops by decades. On the radio, Night Watch, with reporter Donn Reed from 68 years ago, July 31st, 1954.
It's just a couple of minutes after 6 p.m., and we're just leaving the police station to start the night watch. Sergeant Perkins has stopped over here in the hall to talk with a little boy that evidently is lost. Let's check it out.
You want you to walk home from here?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you lived out here?
We just moved a couple weeks ago.
That's a long ways out. Tell you what, supposing you come with us and we'll take you home.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Why, what'd you come in the police station for? Did he tell you to come in here?
I didn't. My daddy said if I get lost, to ask somebody where I live and give him that note.
So you came on in here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Okay, you come with us, we'll take you out.
Okay.
Did you look at this?
Out the door. By the way, my name is Donn Reed, a police recorder. You're going to ride with Detective Unit 5-6 tonight. I'll get in back with him, okay, Sergeant?
Yeah, okay, then.
As you ride with us, remember the people you hear are not actors. This is it. This is real. This is Night Watch.
5621, reporting in service. Starting mileage 6752, 6752.
Control 1 to 5610-4, 6:21 p.m. KMA 394, starting Night Watch.
Night Watch, the actual on-the-scene report of your police force in action. There are no actors. There is no script. Every voice, every sound is authentic. The investigations are recorded as they actually occur. Night Watch, presented with the cooperation of the Police Department of Culver City, California, W.N. Hildebrand, Chief. We switch you now to car 5-6 on patrol and your police recorder, Donn Reed.
We're nearing this young fellow's home now. A quick recap. The boy was left at the theater by his parents. They didn't pick him up. Blonde hair, about 8 years old. Wide-eyed. Riding in a police car.
The right side?
Yeah.
Okay.
5-1 to 1, clear. Go ahead, 10-4-5.
Right in here?
Yeah, because there's a little statue in the window. If there's a statue in the window, then... Oh, yeah, that's my house right there.
Which one? Right back there?
The pink one.
Okay.
We kind of overshot the house. Backing up a bit.
Yes, that's my house.
Here we are. Small duplex. Up the walk. Sergeant has the little fellow by the hand. Door's unlocked.
Nobody home?
No, they said that my dad was going into Los Angeles for some business.
What time are they going to be back, son, do you know?
No.
Your mother with him?
Yes.
You're all by yourself then now, aren't you? Do you know any of these people next door or anything?
No, we just moved in 2 weeks ago. I haven't got...
You're going to be all right here by yourself?
Yeah, I'll go upstairs and read some funny books for a while.
Well, we'll tell the people next door to kind of keep their eye on you, okay?
Okay.
All right, swell.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
8 years old. Unafraid.
Police officer, may I talk to you a minute? Hello. I'm Sergeant Perkins from the Police Department. We just brought the little boy home next door. His folks are not home. I wonder if you could kind of keep an eye on him just a little bit till his folks get back.
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Yeah, he's all by himself over there.
I haven't stayed overnight.
Well, okay, they, apparently the folks have gone downtown, to Los Angeles. And
Was he down the street or something?
No, he got out of the theater. I guess he got out a little bit early and came over to the police station.
Yeah, he put
Maybe
a
or
script.
something. Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
thank you.
He's a cute little fella.
Yeah, but he's too little to be out by himself. Have the juvenile bureau talk with his parents tomorrow.
10-4, will do. Control 1 to cars 5-1 and 5-2 and motors 5 and 7. Will you assist unit 5-0 and 2931 Evergreen on a code 8? Help control traffic. Control 1 to 5-6, come in.
5-6, go ahead.
Control 1 to 5-6, meet unit 5-4 at 1311 Donovan. 1311 Donovan. Investigate a possible assault case. 5-6, your call. Code 2, KMA 394.
5-6, roger.
Here in car 5-6, we're just cruising toward that code 8 or fire call. But at the moment, we're assigned to a possible assault case, so it looks like the fire will have to go by the boards as far as we're concerned. We've flicked on our red light, moving through the traffic a little bit faster right now. And off on the right, just a few blocks up ahead, I can actually see the fire that the other units are rolling on. It's in our direction, so we'll go fairly close. In fact, I can see the flames pouring up right now, and the entire area has been turned into daylight. It becomes more apparent as we're getting into the area. And looking over my shoulder, additional fire trucks are pulling up and are coming in directly behind us. Well, I can hear their sirens, so we'll just stand by. We've pulled up at the curb to allow a big pumper truck to roll past us. They're rolling code 3. That's what their night is on. Stand by. We're get back on our call again. Sadly, that big fire truck stopped right here in the block just ahead of us. We're passing them now, and the firemen are jumping off the truck, attaching hoses. Appears to be a house and garage, and it's completely engulfed in flames. It's right next to a lumber yard, so you can see that the boys really have their work cut out for them. Looking back over my shoulder, the flames are silhouetting the trees and the buildings. It's a very weird picture. When I was a kid, I used to chase fires all the time.
Listening to that description, I had the feeling you'd rather go to the fire than on our call.
You could be right. There's 5-4 up ahead, swinging in behind one of our uniform cars. Officers Eberhard and DeVoe. We'll all go in together. The only information, a possible assault has been committed. It's a duplex. Be the apartment upstairs. Doors open. Woman lying on the divan holding a towel over her face. Blood spattered. Uniformed officers will handle. We'll stand by in case of trouble.
Drinking a little, not too much.
Well, what was the start? What started it, Terry?
Oh, there's nothing started. I mean, this isn't the first time. I think it's a mental case, I think. It didn't say...
Husband coming into the room.
Yes, it is. I think it is. I got a black eye. You hit me first.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Right there it is.
How many times did you beat me up?
I ain't beat you up any.
It's not the idea of beating up who's beating up who.
That's right.
We're here mainly to keep peace.
Right.
But it didn't even say for me to be around him, I'm telling you.
Well, what do you want, my money? Is that all you want?
No, I don't want your money. I just want you to treat me like I'm something. I don't want it.
Husband took out a roll of bills and threw it in her lap.
I ain't showing off. That's yours.
Insulted me enough now.
Well, it's up to you. As I said before, if you want him arrested...
I do, because I have been beat on until I'm sick and tired of it.
But we want to warn you that, however...
I do. I took this as long as I can take it.
Let the officer finish. Hey, let the officer finish what he's talking about, please.
It's up to you that when you appear, it'll be your word against his. I mean, we have no say in the matter whatsoever. I mean, it's strictly on your say-so. We'll assist you and place him under arrest. But you will sign the complaint.
Well, how about this? We'll go over to the apartment and let him get his clothes. And just so I get in the apartment and get the doors locked, that's all I ask.
You know you love me, you know I love you.
I know I do. I love you too much.
Well, all right, it's 2 ways. We're married.
Well, the point is that there's no reason for the police to be in something like
That's
this.
right.
But I have took this so many times.
It's all flower pot.
No, I did not. The flower pot is over.
Well, I got a black eye to prove it. I don't know what you hit me with. You hit me
You
with
think I
something.
get a busted nose?
We're not going to stand up here and argue back and forth.
Yes, sir.
You've got a radio car tied up. You've got a detective unit tied up. We can be doing a lot of more important things. You listen to me just a minute. I'm talking. Just keep quiet a minute while I talk.
It's my wife. Remember that.
I'm a police officer, and I happen to be in here like these officers are here investigating a complaint. Now, we're going to see that there's peace and there's quiet. And she doesn't
I'm trying
have
to tell you what the deal is.
Just
afraid
let me
she's going
talk
to get
a
hurt.
minute.
She ain't. There ain't
Just
no
let me-
doubt about it. I mean, it's all right.
You just keep talking. You're going down the station. We'll talk about it down there. We're interested in that she doesn't have to live in any fear, bodily harm.
I do.
The same thing with you people. Apparently, you both love each other. You just said you did. Well,
She loves me, though, believe me.
If I didn't, I wouldn't take it.
The only alternative the officers have here is either to take you in and book you, or that you agree that nothing else will happen. It's up to you.
I agree.
Well, I've heard that too much.
If anything else happens, you can call them and they'll put me under the jail. I wouldn't treat you that way this time unless you smite me.
Oh, yeah, you make it look good for yourself.
I'll make it look good for nobody.
Problems even in 1954. December 31st, 1954, Night Watch on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Adver what?
With print and broadcasting and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday with us here for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And we're listening to an episode of Night Watch, Cops on the Radio, as it was originally broadcast on Saturday evening, July 31st, 1954. In the newspapers of that Saturday 68 years ago, these were some of the headlines. Amid tense scenes, the Republican senator from Vermont, Flanders, demanded formal Senate condemnation on the conduct of Senator McCarthy and was quickly accused by a McCarthy backer of being an unwilling catspaw for the Communist Party. The countercharge made by the Republican senator from Illinois, Everett Dirksen, who declared Flanders, the Communists, and Americans for Democratic Action forming a great multitude marching with one persecution complex against a humble senator. Flanders presented his censure resolution, first of its kind in 25 years, declaring McCarthy's tactics tend to bring the Senate into disrepute, and he told the senator that McCarthy can no more be appeased than could Hitler or the Kremlin. President Eisenhower today came out for Joseph T. Meek, the Republican candidate for the Senate in Illinois, and thus got into one of the hottest state campaigns of this election year. The move came as a surprise in some political circles in view of the president's repeated statements that he would not participate in campaigns of individual GOP candidates for Congress. Eisenhower's endorsement was in response to a statement by Meek that the president could count on his loyalties and my support as a junior senator from Illinois. This also attracted much interest, said Meek had apparently been unwilling to go that far in campaign statements to date. Meek will oppose Democrat Senator Paul Douglas in the November election. The Senate rejected 81-7 today a proposal by Senator Malone, the Republican of Nevada, to kill the foreign aid program and invest its accumulated billions in American military aircraft. Malone offered his plan as an amendment to the $3.1 billion foreign aid authorization bill, now nearing a final vote. He estimated the Foreign Operations Administration had $9.979 billion in unspent funds from previous appropriations. With the $3.1 billion in new monies President Eisenhower is asking for the current fiscal year, Malone said $13 billion would be available for building an invincible Air Force. The Atomic Energy Commission reported the nation's arsenal of nuclear weapons is growing rapidly. It indicated progress toward creation of atomic-engined airplane and said the first fissionable engine for a submarine is almost ready. The wife of a $40 to $50 a week Negro plasterer gave birth to quadruplets this morning, a boy and 3 girls. but by nightfall, 2 of the tiny children died. They were born to 59-year-old Mrs. Ruth Hurd at McGee Hospital in Pittsburgh. The boy, tentatively named Jerry Harvey, died just 7 hours and 20 minutes after his birth. Later in the afternoon, his sister, known only as Baby D, had died. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Saturday, July 31st, 1954. On the radio, Night Watch from the mean streets of Culver City, California, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Why don't you take a motel or a hotel room tonight?
And you've been wrong, and I'm getting good and tired. I've tried to live with you 7 whole months, and this is what...
Another officer just came upstairs. Let's see what it's all about.
One is calling you Sergeant Warden Walter on that fire call in Evergreen. Turned out to be arson. They want you over to the station as soon as possible.
Okay. We got another call. Will you stand by?
Hey, come here a minute. In front of these officers, no kidding.
Okay, right here.
What's that?
Bill, if you don't need us, we're going back to the station.
Well, where's the car?
I can't.
Bill,
Linda, the car attendant.
okay.
Well, the officers have got them pretty well squared away. Right now we just got a call, so we'll have to hurry right on out.
5-6 to 1, go ahead.
Control 1 to 5-6. If you're clear, 1019 and contact Sergeant Ward regarding arson investigation.
5-6, 10-4.
1019 means return to the station.
You are listening to Night Watch and following the activities of a detective unit on its tour of duty. The people and sounds you are hearing are real, and the investigations are recorded in the field as they actually occur. We'll bring you the final results of tonight's action at the conclusion of Night Watch.
And the conclusion of Night Watch from 68 years ago today, July 31st, 1954, comes up next here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station. On Monday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of J. Edgar Hoover's favorite program, This Is Your FBI. 70 years ago, August 1st, 1952, the Death Cruise. A former Army intelligence agent recognizes a deported Nazi who snuck back into the country. Unfortunately, it seems everyone's on the Nazi side. That's coming up on Monday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But now the conclusion of Night Watch. So 68 years ago, July 31st, 1954.
We switch you now to police headquarters, where an arson investigation is in progress, and to police recorder Donn Reed.
We've been back here to the station for about an hour and a half, and the arson investigation is in full swing. Briefly, this is the information we have to the moment. The fire that we saw earlier tonight turned out to be arson. Consequently, a young woman has been arrested and is now detained here at the station. Sergeant Perkins is across the hall here working on some reports connected with... Coming down the hall now. The suspect, escorted by Detective Walter. Let's go on into the Detective Bureau where she'll be questioned.
We'll have to ask you some questions about this thing that happened. Now, how long have you been married to your present husband?
Sitting at the desk, Detective Sergeant Ward.
You're legally married.
Here's the suspect. Young, early 20s. Long hair streaming down her back. Uncombed.
Married and you divorced.
Arms bruised. One eye nearly swollen shut.
I suppose you tell us what happened.
Hands trembling.
I don't know. I and my husband have been slapping me around.
Now, what time did that happen?
Early. Took me by the hair and dragged me into the house and told me he was going to get even with me, so I knew I had to get out, so I guess I just got mad.
Is that when you set the fire, when you got mad, you mean? Was your husband in the house when you set the fire?
No.
He had left.
Mm-hmm.
Did, when he pulled you by the hair and pulled you into the house, did he strike you with his fist?
No, he just threw me down on the floor.
Just threw you down on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did this struggle take? How long was he there at the house?
Just a minute, and he left.
Just a few minutes. In other words, he pulled you in and
he
shouted
said he
at
would
you.
be back, that's all, and he just left.
He said he'd be back?
Yes.
Is that when you set the fire?
No. First, I didn't know where I was going to go because I knew when he came back that he'd be drinking a lot and he'd probably really beat up on me. As soon as I finished dressing the baby and I had warmed her a bottle, when I was all ready so that I could take her right out, I just walked in and set the fire in the house, and then I left.
Where did you set the fire in the house?
In the closet in the bedroom.
What did you use to start the fire?
Just the paper. I always keep the newspapers. After we read them, I keep them stacked in there.
You just lit a match to them?
Yes, that's right.
Did you pour any gasoline or anything like that in there?
No, nothing.
Were there any clothes hanging in the closet?
Yes.
Now, after you'd set the fire, where did you go from there?
I went to the railroad tracks. I was waiting for the bus and it didn't come, so I walked across the street and asked the service station fellow how long it would take it. He said anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. And I walked back over and I seen the squad car go by. So I walked up the street to the restaurant and I went in there. And I asked for a bottle of beer there and I sat there, and the minute I got in, everybody started running out saying there was a fire then. Then I came back out and went back up to where the house was.
Now, when the people ran out and when they heard the fire trucks and so on and so forth, did you walk back to the house again?
Yes.
And were you at the house when the police arrested you there?
Yes. They didn't arrest me. They just brought me down here because I told them I didn't do it until we got here. And they started thinking my husband did it, so I told them I did it.
What happened to your eye? Do you have a shiner there?
He hit me.
That your husband hit you? Are you hurt any place else besides the eye?
Just bruises.
How about the furniture in the house? Is that your furniture, or did you rent the place furniture?
It was our furniture, but what was in there was nothing. We didn't have no living room set. We didn't have nothing. In fact, he hated the place. He wasn't going to stay there. The doctor told me if I didn't get the baby out, that place would kill her.
Have you ever set any fires before?
Yes.
When was that?
I was probably 14, 15.
What brought about that? How'd that happen?
Just the house we lived in.
Didn't like the house? Have you ever been arrested for anything?
No.
Never been arrested? Not even for drunk or anything like that?
No.
You smoke?
Yes.
And a cigarette?
Thank you.
Now, you feel that the reason you set the fire was so that you could get the baby out of the house, or because you were mad at your husband?
It just seemed like he kicked me around and hurt me so much I had to do something to hurt him back.
In other words, you feel that you set the fire in order to hurt him, in order to more or less retaliate for what he had done to you earlier in the evening.
Not just in the evening. I wish it had only been that long. It's been this way for months now. Always smack me around, and I'm not big enough to fight him back.
Why, after your divorce, why did you go back?
I've always loved him. He treated me real good. We got along real good until he started hanging around with his mother and father and then drinking like a fish. Till liquor came to our house, we got along perfect, and he knows it.
Do you still love him? Do you feel now that you're still in love with your husband?
Yes.
In other words, he's a good husband when he's not drinking.
He's perfect when he's not drinking.
Is he an alcoholic? Is he chronic? Is he
I'll put it this way. Saturday he drank a quart of whiskey. To me, a quart of whiskey is a lot of whiskey. The next day he drank a quart of whiskey. The next day he drank a quart of whiskey. And all the time there was no money coming for nothing else. When he quits drinking, he's fine. He'll do anything for his kid. He loves her. The baby comes first, but then when he gets drinking, he don't care about nobody. He can't go and get custody of the baby now while I have to stay here.
I don't think so. How about your mother and father? Does your father work?
Yes.
And your mother and father live together?
Yes.
Will she take care of the baby for you?
Yes.
Well, that'll probably be what they'll do, is let your mother have the baby to take care of it.
Don't you set up a bail for me or nothing?
Yeah, tomorrow. I can't think of anything else.
How much is my bail going to be, could I ask?
Probably be around $1,000, I imagine.
So what does that come when they go to a bail bond?
Probably about 100. Yeah, runs around 10%. You want to call now?
I would like to.
Okay, why don't you take her in the desk officer's office in there and make a phone call, or upstairs in Ollie's office, either one. Okay, we'll see you again.
The suspect is slowly leaving the room. Let's go over next door to Sergeant Perkins' office, see if there's any new developments in the case. Hi, Perk. Anything new?
No, it's pretty much open and shut case.
What about the husband?
Nothing we can do. She won't sign a complaint, unless she's changed her mind into the ward.
No, she says she still loves him. Which reminds me, there's something missing out of this thing. I'd like to talk with her.
Go ahead. I got the finished report here anyway.
That okay?
Yeah.
Good deal.
See you later. Right.
Here she is, sitting in the detention room prior to being returned to the cell, standing against the bars, staring into space, cigarette burning in her hand. Do you feel like talking to me for a few moments?
Yes.
Just as an observer during your interrogation, there are a couple of things I've been wondering about. I noticed you told the sergeant you'd started fires as a youngster. Why?
When I was young, my folks always drank, and my father used to always beat on me. We lived in a real bad dump, and he always promised to get us out of it. He was going to always take us away. But he didn't, so I decided one day I'd burn the house down so that we could move out of it anyway. But I didn't start big enough fire to hurt the house.
Why'd you use fire?
The only thing I thought of.
Did you derive any pleasure by lighting fires?
No.
What did you think when you went back to your home and found it burning?
It was already burnt completely. Everything was gone when I got back. First thing I thought about was I actually hadn't hurt him, I'd hurt the baby.
Yeah. How long have you lived with your husband?
I've only been with him now going on 3 years. We were married 9 years ago, and we had a little girl, and my husband wouldn't take care of her either. And then she died, and he wouldn't pay her funeral bill, wouldn't come to the funeral. He didn't even send her a flower.
I noticed that you said you still loved your husband. Well, to be honest, I don't understand that kind of love.
I'll be truthful with you. I don't even understand the kind I've got. It destroys me. It makes me do things that I want to do.
What does he make you do?
It's just like every time he beats me up, I just want to go out and do something to destroy him. I've even thought about killing him when the gun was in the house. I was going to last night. I was going to shoot him the minute he walked in the door. I hated him for always leaving me alone. No man's worth a beating. I don't care who they are. Once they beat you, they're just not worth it. They're not worth staying around. They're not worth trying to make a home for them. I loaded the gun once.
Had he come back tonight, do you think you would have killed him?
I don't know. Well, I'm going to have to pay for it now anyway. It wasn't my house I burnt down. It was somebody else's house I burnt down. And our landlord always treated me nice. Actually, I did him dirty. My husband didn't get nothing out of it. He beats me as he walks around the streets free. And I'm the one that'll end up paying for all of it.
What you have just heard is real. Recorded as it happened on the Night Watch. For the disposition of this case, we return you to Police Headquarters and Chief W.N. Hildebrand.
Tonight's first case is the type of police work that is seldom realized by the average citizen. The family dispute was settled when the wife refused to sign a complaint against her husband, so the event was entered into the records as advised, no further action necessary. The final investigation of the arson case resulted in the arrest and subsequent trial of the young woman suspect charged with arson, which is a violation of the Penal Code, Section 447A, and carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in the state penitentiary. As an added note, the young woman suspect declined to sign a complaint against her husband, which left us powerless to take any action against him. In the past 20 years, we as a nation have made great strides toward maintaining our national security both internally and externally. Night watch is part of that pattern. These events are real. The problems encountered by the officers are real. If we succeed in alerting the nation of this real work being done by your law enforcement agencies and tighten the cooperation between the citizen, then we have the reason for presenting Night Watch.
Thank you, Chief Hildebrand. You have just heard on-the-scene reports of your police force in action. Every voice, every sound has been real. Night Watch, brought to you through the cooperation of your police department of Culver City, California, is produced by Sterling Tracy and Jim Hedlock, with technical advice by Sergeant Ron Perkins, and is described in the field by police recorder Donn Reed.
From 68 years ago, July 31st, 1954, Night Watch on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please thank this station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allow us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite radio station. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a show. You can find all of our shows on demand at our webpage, which is classicradio.stream. classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there. You can find links for downloads of our shows through various podcast sites, and you can also find our social media links. And if you're happy with what we do and like to show your love, you can buy me a coffee. All that coffee money is set aside not just for anything in particular, not just for buying me booze or coffee or Dr. Pepper, but for acquiring additional classic radio theater shows that are rare in nature. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.